We saying that we want you to free him up. At the end of the day, y'all free Michael Cohen. Y'all free Michael Cohen. What's his name? Trump's lawyer. He only did a couple months in prison, and y'all already freed him. That's because he rich. But what about the lower class? What about the lower class, working class? This is what we out here for. You dig what I'm saying? So with that said, we gonna stand with our brothers and sisters. We gonna show them what the people power looks like. Like Fred Hampton said, it's a class struggle, God damn it.
All right, yeah, we here in Indianapolis, downtown, near downtown. We about to start this rally. It's in behalf of trying to free the prisoners here because just the other day, Governor Eric Holcomb tried to minimize the situation. Said it was only 27 prisoners out of 27,000 prisoners that has confirmed cases of COVID-19. But then we find out up in Westfield, it's already an epidemic that's broke out up there, where it's 90 cases up there, one death that we've already recorded. We've also had the brothers in prison in Westfield, Pendleton, and a couple other places, Wabash, that's already started to rise up over this, started to hold demonstrations. I think in Pendleton they had set fires the other day, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, nobody wants to go in there. They was sentenced to a sentence. They wasn't sentenced to death. You dig what I'm saying? So we're going to stand with our brothers and sisters that's locked up in Indiana, and we saying free them all. You know, for public health, free them all. It's 6,000 people right now with a year or less in prison, you know what I mean, or in the county jail. Why do they need to still be in there when they've been freeing people like Michael Cohen, you know, Trump's lawyer that went to prison and stuff that's already out. He's on house arrest now. You dig what I'm saying? But this is how, you know, when you look at it from a class standpoint, the rich, this is their form of justice. But we only get justice by coming out here and making demands. We're not coming out here asking for nothing. We coming out here demanding that they release our brothers and sisters. And we got a coalition of brothers and sisters here, as you can see, people pulling up right now. That's gonna be having like I said, it's gonna be a car rally downtown. We're gonna be circling a couple of particular institutions of the state, demanding that, honking our horns, driving real slow, and then we're gonna hold two rallies at two particular points that ones here know about, you know what I mean? And we'll be going live and we'll be recording this so ones can understand what we doing here in Indianapolis. This right here, I told some of the brothers here, this is the start of our Rambo coalition. You know, when Fred Hampton and them came together with the young lords, with the young patriots, with Rising Angry, you dig what I'm saying, with the Brown Berets and all the other ones that was in the coalition, this is what we doing here in Indianapolis. This is the left right here come together, because at the end of the day, it's a class struggle. That's what Fred Hampton said. It's a class struggle, god damn it, and this is what it is. You dig what I'm saying? So we out here and we gonna come together and we gonna keep on making our voices be heard. This ain't gonna be a one-off event either. We ain't gonna go home and feel good like we was at church on a Sunday morning and go home think we gonna be cool for the rest of the week because we did something. No, we gonna be out here consistently every week doing what we doing and standing for the people and stuff. So this ain't gonna just be a one-off situation. We gonna actually be out there in these prisons and forcing them to hear our demands, because at the end of the day, we are not outnumbered. We just unorganized, but we about to show the people how to get organized and how to get demands met. You dig what I'm saying? Frederick Douglass said, "Power concedes nothing without a demand." So we have to turn that demand into a material social force to get those needs met. You dig what I'm saying? So with our brothers in prison around the country, this is also on behalf of y'all. You know what I mean? This ain't just localized to Indiana. We call upon all the organizations in all these cities and all these states. We got to come together at this time. You know what I mean? We have to build up the prison abolitionist movement, the prison liberation movement, like they was doing in the 60s. These are the times. We about to start it right now. These are going to be our preliminary steps to getting towards Black August and some of these other demonstrations that's going to go on around the nation at this time. You know what I mean? But we have to be out here in full force standing with these brothers and sisters. We had one brother in a prison that escaped. I forget what prison it was. He escaped because he feared for his life. And then he did an interview. I posted it on Facebook. You know what I mean? Did an interview. Who gonna escape and then do an interview talking about he'll turn himself in, but they want better conditions. You know what I mean? Come on, man. We gotta support our brothers and sisters. So anyway, that's what we out here doing. We out here organizing, we getting our coalitions together, and we gonna be out here boots on the ground. This is what boots on the ground mean. But also with that said, I wanna make another point. Our brothers and sisters that's in these ICE detentions, we standing with them too. When we say free them all, we definitely mean free them all. You dig what I'm saying? We not just talking about the state prisons and federal prisons. We talk about our brothers and sisters in them ICE camps too. Cause them concentration camps, let's call it what it is. You know, it's a concentration camps they putting these brothers and sisters in. You know what I mean? We have neo-Nazi fascists in this White House right now. We don't know what they designs. We don't know who the next demographic's gonna be. You know, like they said, what Martin D. Mueller said, they came for the communists, the socialists, the labor unionists, you dig what I'm saying? Then they came for the Jews, then they came for him. But because all those communities and them groups stayed silent, you dig? And only spoke in behalf of their own identity and it wasn't in speaking in behalf as the class as a whole, they was able to isolate them. You dig what I'm saying? They can't isolate us when we come together across ethnic lines. When we come together, no matter our nationalities, no matter our gender identity or whatnot. You dig what I'm saying? This is what class struggle is, god damn it. That's what Fred said, and that's what we mean. That's what we gonna be demonstrating out here today. You know, I'm Kwame Shakur, New African Black Panther Party. You dig? So we out here full force. I'm standing in behalf of also IDOC-Watch, response coordinator. We both of these organizations is a part of this coalition that we putting together. It's various other coalitions that's out here as well. You know, you'll be seeing some of them come to the mic and speak later on during this rally. So we just want everyone to not only watch what we doing, but like Fred said, observation, but participation. You dig what I'm saying? Observe what we doing, but replicate what we doing in your own city, in your own town, because we have to build this into a national social movement to get our demands met. You dig what I'm saying? So with that said, all power to the people.
Right now, the government is acting according to the IDOC's quote-unquote response and preparedness plan, which completely fails to account for the fact that COVID-19 spreads, can spread for up to 2 weeks or around there prior to the person who's infected showing any symptoms. So they're talking about how, you know, preventing people from coughing on each other and wearing masks, which they only started doing last week, distributing masks to the prison population. They're talking about how that is somehow going to prevent the spread of the disease, but we know that's not at all the case. In all likelihood, there's already a huge portion of the prison population that's infected, who just haven't started showing symptoms yet or just haven't been tested yet. At Westville, like Kwame mentioned, the number of cases went from 5 or 6, maybe 7 number of confirmed cases to 87 in the course of one day. Because somebody died, I believe on Wednesday last week at Westville. Somebody died of COVID-19 on Wednesday at Westville, I think, Wednesday or Thursday. And the following day they tested all the people on that unit. And that was when the number of cases went up. In all likelihood, there's many more people in the prison who have the disease and haven't been tested because they're not testing people who aren't on that same unit. And the same goes for all the other prisons in the state. And like also, I just want to emphasize, as Kwame said also, there have already been 4 small-scale rebellions in 4 different prisons around the state in the last 2 weeks in response to the conditions that are being imposed in order to deal with this disease, or pretend to deal with the disease, when they could, again, just release a lot of people, quarantine them for a couple weeks. They have the funds to do it. Indiana's been running a surplus for years, and they've just received a whole bunch of federal stimulus money for law enforcement. So there shouldn't be any problem here. There's no reason to keep people in prison to serve out the rest of a sentence when all they have left is less than a year to serve, and they could catch the disease and die in that 1 year.
I'm here with the Indiana Undocumented Youth Alliance. We are an organization that advocates for the undocumented community, and we want to say that we are here and that we are undocumented and unafraid. We are out here today supporting the detainees in jails, prisons, and detention centers. Currently, there are 7 detention centers across the nation that have tested positive for COVID-19. In Chicago alone, there's 19 children who just tested positive. And these are individuals who do not have the privilege to self-quarantine or social isolate or practice anything regarding safe COVID-19 requirements. We are asking Governor Holcomb, we're asking the government to take into consideration the individuals' lives and the fact that these individuals are here for a better life, and now being locked up in cages while this is going on is just, it's literally genocide waiting to happen. This is literally how Anne Frank died of a disease, and now we are just sitting here waiting for these individuals to do the same. So we ask Governor Holcomb to intervene and to release them all now.
Anti-promoters who don't anti-up, but I'm not anti-sub. I know that power is the most effective anti-drug. I'm pro-Zapatista, pro-Cuba, Viva. Polarizer saying fuck la migra. Policia say asesina. Let me show you what I mean. I'm anti-Republican and Democratic. If they self-destruct, that's anti-kinetic.
I'm Kwame Shakur with the IDOC-Watch. I'm the response coordinator. I'm also deputy chairman of the New African Black Panther Party. We down here with a coalition of a whole lot of organizations because we saying free them all. Free them all. I said free them all. Free them all. I say free them all. Free them all. Absolutely. So we coming down here and we demanding that Eric Holcomb listen to the people. And we showing Eric Holcomb what people power looks like. You know, this is why we down here, because we got a lot of brothers and sisters in there that's vulnerable. We just had one person that died from that up in Westfield. Eric Holcomb said only 27 people had COVID. They tested positive for COVID. In one facility, we see 90 people tested positive up in Westfield. You know, we got brothers and sisters that been demonstrating at penalty. We had brothers and sisters been demonstrating at Wabash. We had brothers and sisters been demonstrating at all these little facilities because they feel vulnerable in there. Right. We have a sister that's right here that's gonna speak. Her son is on a unit with people that have COVID-19, and her son got TB. So why is he even in this situation? So we come together, we said, we demanded that they release these brothers and sisters. We got 6,000 of them right now that only has a year or less. 6,000. Why can't they release them, starting with them first? There's no reason to have them in there. We know the DOC ain't about rehabilitation. We know that. I did 18 years in prison. I saw them only break brothers and sisters in there. I saw a lot of suicides in there. My first 3 months in prison, they killed a brother named Theodore McKenzie. And this was May 27, 1999. You know what happened to them? The same thing they've been doing out here to all of us out here. Mike Brown, you dig? Getting away with it, sweeping it under the rug. Philandro Castile, sweeping it under the rug. You know, Justice Hale, sweeping it under the rug. Before there was even a Mike Brown, there was a Theodore McKenzie that I saw myself. You dig what I'm saying? So it's not about rehabilitation. We said that we want you to free him up. At the end of the day, y'all free Michael Cohen. Y'all free Michael Cohen. What's his name? Trump's lawyer. He only did a couple months in prison, and y'all already freed him. That's because he rich. But what about the lower class? What about the lower class, working class? This is what we out here for. You dig what I'm saying? So with that said, we gonna stand with our brothers and sisters. We gonna show them what the people power looks like. Like Fred Hampton said, it's a class struggle, God damn it. And this is what we do. We standing with our brothers and sisters out here. Because at the end of the day, it's not about rehabilitation. Let's talk about what it was really about. What was the war on drugs really about? It was a backlash against the 60s. They didn't want black and brown people rising up and confronting their white supremacist system. That's what it was about. They had a problem with Martin Luther King because of the Poor People's Campaign. So what they do? Assassinate it. Because it was a class struggle, goddammit. You hear what I'm saying? When we look at Rainbow Coalition with Fred Hampton and him, what they do? Try to get rid of Fred Hampton. What? Because it was a class struggle, goddammit. And that's why we out here today. We showing that we, as the people, standing together as a class, despite ethnic differences, despite gender differences, despite sexual orientations, we all out here together. Some of us feel like, damn, Brother Kwame, you standing with all these brothers, the white brothers and sisters, the LGBT community, most definitely. You know why? Because it's a class struggle, goddammit. We stand united around here. You know, so this is what the Black Panther Party about. This is what all these organizations about right here. We represent just like the Rainbow Coalition, but we doing it right here in Indianapolis. And we calling on everybody around the country to do the same thing. Because the more we united as a class across the whole country, the more we can get a lot more accomplished. You know what I'm saying? You see this Black Panther on my shirt? It's not on here for no reason. It's on here because we represent it. It's a class struggle. God damn it. You know what I'm saying? So let's go back to this war on drugs. It was a counterinsurgency against the people because they saw when the people came together that the people was becoming too much of a threat to this white supremacist capitalist imperialist system. Right. And we know that capitalism and imperialism has nothing but to divide the people. It's only been oppressive of the people. This country making $15 trillion a year. What has that done to us? The people out here in the community. What has it done for the black community? What has it done for the brown community? What has it done for the Native American community? What has it done for all those people that's locked up in these concentration camps? All of our Latin American brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? So we saying free them all too. We saying these ICE camps is nothing but fascist control of the state. It's fascist repression from the state. Just like this war on drugs was mass incarceration to lock up a lot of the people in the lower class so they wouldn't come together and recognize it's a class struggle. God damn it. But we out here. We out here today. You think they thought they repressed us? They thought they had silenced the movement, but the movement is back on the map. And we here on the map in Indianapolis, and we united. We united as one. And we gonna continually drive this organization and this coalition forward and build with the masses out here. Absolutely. Let me hear it. Free them up. Free them up. Let me hear it again. Free them up. 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 All power to the people. All power to the people. The next person I'm gonna bring up here to speak is Sam, and she's gonna speak in behalf of our organization. Woo!
Hey, hi. I am not nearly as powerful a speaker as Kwame over here, but I'll do my best. My name is Sam James. I am an organizer here in Indianapolis with the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and we are out here today to stand with all these organizations, to stand with the working class of this city and this country to demand that Eric Holcomb step up and free our most at-risk prisoners. Today in the U.S. there are 2.3 million human beings in state, federal, and county jails, more than 52,000 in immigration detention camps. Here in Indiana, we have over 45,000 people incarcerated in county jails across the state, and another 27,000 in state prisons. The Party for Socialism and Liberation demands that these incarcerated people, these people who are most at risk, be released now. Yes! No! It is impossible to quarantine in the context of incarceration. And we know that Marion County jails right here, right down the street, are already compromised. The city tells us that there's only 9 confirmed cases, but we know that there's a shortage of testing kits. We know that this virus is asymptomatic. You don't see it in the first 2 weeks. How many more? How many more people are in those buildings right now who have been exposed, who are carrying that virus, who are going to get sick this week, next week, the week after? In all cases, prisons, jails, and immigration detention centers, people suffer the same inhumane and unsanitary conditions. They all been left access to clean water, hot water, regular showers, hand soap, hand sanitizer. People who have been incarcerated have said it before, but the prisons on TV that we see that look so clean and tidy is not how it is in reality. Those places are grimy, they're dirty, they're infested with roaches and rats. It's inhumane, and it is just part of the crumbling infrastructure of this country's repressive system. Most studies show, too, that the incarcerated population is many more times likely to be victim to chronic health conditions. Some 77% of people report chronic health conditions when they are incarcerated at the beginning of that stay, and they don't get better. Only 44% claim to be satisfied with the medical care they can receive while incarcerated. And there's no studies showing if any of those people were receiving health care before they were incarcerated. So it's no surprise that around the country, healthcare workers, lawyers, prisoner rights advocates, abolition groups, and even some corrections boards have called for the urgent release of inmates considered high risk. Despite this, Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb has refused to take decisive action to save lives. Just last week, the Indiana Supreme Court denied a petition to release a number of nonviolent inmates with less than a year on their sentence. It's shameful. It's a death sentence. This week, as Kwame said, the number of cases among the Westville Correctional Facility jumped to 90 within a week. More will come if we do not force our elected officials to take action. During this crisis, a major contradiction has become clear. This capitalist system is not capable of handling a global crisis on this level.
Hell no.
In the United States, it's particularly acute. The lack of access to health care for everyone, the 40-some% of Americans who have an average of $400 in their personal savings account, the homeless population amid a glitch of empty houses, empty luxury condos, luxury apartments going up everywhere downtown. The massive food deserts, the lack of a sufficient social safety net, everywhere. Now this is on display in their most brutal forms. Every experienced prisoner rights and abolition organizer knows that each time a hurricane approaches the United States, the race is on to urge wardens and corrections boards to evacuate the prisons. In one particularly foolish case, incarcerated people in the Orleans Parish Prison were left to drown as Katrina swept in and guards abandoned the prison without opening the cells. Inmates were stranded neck deep in sewage water for a week, without access to food, without access to clean water. Some 517 of them are still unaccounted for. How many hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, and pandemics will have to devastate our incarcerated community members before we take action toward a better future? Not like that. Some people have said that the U.S. is a carceral state, a state that funnels its problems into incarceration. Crime rates in this country don't match incarceration rates nearly as much as they mirror unemployment, homelessness, and poverty rates. In short, the carceral state is the capitalist state, which exists to manage the affairs of a shrinking but wealthy owning class amid a colossal working class, which is not just those who are currently employed, but it is the unemployed, it is the homeless, and it is the incarcerated people. One of the capitalist state's greatest weapons in its racist class war has and continues to be the prison system. The urgent action of early and compassionate release of prisoners with the COVID-19 crisis has already taken place in other parts of the world. Iran, I'm gonna take this up. Iran released 1/3 of its total prison population in response to the crisis. That's 85,000 people who are temporarily freed. We cannot hope to define a new society on the basis of our imaginations alone, but we can, however, say that the rest of the world operates with a fraction of our prison population. While the freedom of 80% of our current prison population seems magical in scope, it would still leave us with 500,000 people behind bars. 500,000 people still places the U.S. in 4th place globally for number of people in jail. And mass incarceration. The U.S., if we had 500,000 people in jail right now, would still be in the running for the highest incarceration per capita. Because the media pounds away at the population with such negative coverage of prisoners, diverting attention from the real criminals up in these jails, up in the governor's mansion, the idea of many people being freed is terrifying to some, but liberation is nothing to fear. What is truly scary is that this racist mass incarceration system could become one large mass grave in the context of this pandemic. We will not allow the incarcerated people of Indiana to be left to rot while COVID-19 sweeps through our prisons. We demand action. Release the 6,000 people with less than a year left on their sentences. Provide them housing when they are released so they are not out on the streets with nowhere to go. A prison sentence should not be a death sentence.
So right now we about to get back in our course. We about to go around this way, and we gonna do a couple more circling and stuff right now. So we ask everybody in the coalition, we gonna get back in our course and we gonna keep it going. All right. So this is what People Power look like. I'm glad that all the ones came out to participate in this. All the various organizations, we salute you for coming together with all of us and standing together. You can see how the crowd started to come around with the people in the community, starting to jump on board and actually out here frame all with us, you know what I mean? Asking them what we doing. You know, this about really fight for our brothers and sisters that don't have a voice.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
That's right.
You know, I did 18 years in prison, and I didn't have no support like this when I was in there, the whole 18 years. So to see this out here right now is beautiful. I can speak in behalf of all my brothers and comrades in there. They definitely appreciate the solidarity and support. You know, I want to speak about a couple of other people in prison right now, another issue. You know, the innocent prisoners that's in there. This is another reason why we want them free. You know, we have Leon Benson, been in there for 22 years this August. And they already know, the state already know this brother is innocent of the crime that he's in there for. You know what I mean? But he's been in there for 22 years, you know, because they don't want to let him out, they don't want to pay the money, and they don't want to admit their own faults. You know what I mean? But we saying free Leon Benson. Free Leon Benson! I say free Leon Benson! Free Leon Benson! Free Leon Benson! Free Leon Benson! We got another brother in there named Roy Amos. He been in there about 13, 14 years. So his people get killed. I'm not saying he was the greatest citizen out here, you know what I mean? But it don't. He shouldn't be in there for a crime he didn't commit. You know, somebody killed his girlfriend that was pregnant with his baby, his friend, his girlfriend's friend, and shot one of their kids. You know what I'm saying? He was all the way in the state of Kentucky when this happened. But they got him in there. You know what I mean? And this is an injustice against this brother and his own family and stuff. So we saying free Roy Amos. Free Roy Amos. Say free Roy Amos. Free Roy Amos. I say free Roy Amos. Free Roy Amos. It's a lot of other brothers and sisters in there that's innocent. You know what I'm saying? But they been victim put in a situation where they're vulnerable to this COVID-19. You know, and we saying all these ones that the state of Indiana know that's innocent, we definitely want you to free them right now. Free them all. 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 Our brothers and sisters that's in the concentration camps, I want to speak to that again because we need to start having solidarity with our Latin brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? They've been locking them up for a long time now. And it's a lot of them, they're not getting media attention. We don't even know a lot of the numbers that's going on in there. Right. You know what I mean? We hear about the state prisoners, the federal prisoners and stuff like that, but we don't see what they doing to the ones that they say is illegal. You know what I'm saying? We say the ones that's real illegal was the colonists that came over here and murdered the Native Americans. Right. You know what I'm saying? They the ones that was illegal. We say the ones that took the land from the Mexicans during the Mexican-American War was illegal. You know what I'm saying? So we don't tell our Mexican Latin brothers to go home. They're a part of the struggle too. You know what I'm saying? They're a part of this class struggle as well. We gonna stand with our brothers and sisters no matter who they are, where they are in this whole goddamn world. Because what we say, it's a class struggle. God damn it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm about to let my sister Kelly speak. Her son is in prison right now, been in there a long time, so I'm going to let her speak in behalf of her son.
I'd like to thank everyone for being here and support. Like Kwame said, we need to be their voices. We need to let the people hear. I'm here on behalf of my son and millions of others behind the walls. Yes, they committed a crime and they're in prison, but they still need to be treated like human beings. And the policies that are written by Indiana Department of Corrections, they're all false because they don't follow those policies. And I want to, on a personal level, 7 years ago, my son was he's been down 9 years. 7 years he was at Pendleton. 5 years ago, he was diagnosed with TB from an inmate that infected 32 other inmates with this. So I know how easy it is to contract the virus, of any kind of virus, tuberculosis or the corona. For 4 years, with the help of Adam and his Indiana IDOC-Watch, I want to thank you because without Adam and his team, I'd probably be 6 feet down right now. And that's the God's honest truth because they supported me and my son and got the help that we needed. We fought for 4 years and finally, after 4 years, the administrator of nurse said, yes, your son is very ill. I've ran all kinds of tests and he definitely needs to see a specialist outside of this prison. The next day, not even 24 hours later, the internal affairs transferred him to another prison. We called the next prison the next day and I repeated to her everything that I just did to you guys. She said, let me look at his medical files. She opens the folder up, there's not a piece of paper in it. 7 years of medical papers that my son filled out and requested to see the doctor inside Pendleton Correctional Facility. Denied, 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 denied. And those 4 years, my son, every time he got a cold or a sinus infection, it shut his body down. And they didn't care. They didn't care. So from there, they move him to Carlisle, which is good because it's only 30 minutes and I get to see him every 2 weeks for 5 hours. It's great, but that's irrelevant. 2 weeks ago, he calls me and says, Mom, they're moving 12 inmates out of the segregation and moving ones that are sick with the virus back here. The same guards, 6 guards, are wearing gloves and masks. He's watching them daily these last 2 weeks, going from cell to cell to cell to give these inmates showers and give them their food trays, not taking their gloves off and their mask and what they're wearing, giving the same people the showers. That's dangerous. It's killing our people. It's killing. And the government and the internal affairs is neglected and not done the right precautions to make this right. It's got to stop. All power to the people.
All power to the people. We got a couple of prisoners
that want to make a speak in behalf of them their own self in there. So we gonna play a recording of some of the ones that's locked up right now, so you can hear from their own voices. Like I said, we are the vehicle for helping these brothers and sisters have a voice out here. You know what I mean? So when they stand up out in there, we're gonna be standing up with them out here. So like I said, when we was over at the transit center, we have to keep growing this. We have to keep doing this, because at the end of the day, our demands will be met, because they're gonna start to fear the fact that we starting to organize. We starting to come together. We starting to also, a lot of us, we anti-imperialists, you dig? We anti-capitalists, you dig? You know, we seen the fascist movement grow, the neo-Nazi movement grow, but we ain't seen the left come out here like we supposed to be coming out here. We telling the right that we out here now. This is what we talking about. We standing for the people. You dig what I'm saying? All power to the people.
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 We say free them all.
Free them all.
We say free them all.
Free them all.
We say free them all.
Free them all.
All right now.
This is Jerry Smith, Fahim Shabazz, is the name he goes by, at Westville, which they just announced that they have around 90 cases at Westville. That amount increased from 7 to 87 in the course of a single day, because they started testing people after somebody died this past week. And he's being held right now. After about 20 years, he's being held on a parole violation. He's been incarcerated since he was 14 years old. So we're trying to get the people who are being held on technical parole violation released as soon as possible.
Basically, what's going on is they hold shit back, man. They not really telling us what's going on. Because COs is really telling people what's going on. Like they saying it was only a couple cases, and that they separated the people and put them on lockdown, when really in actuality some of the COs telling us, man, there's 80 cases of that shit over in B-Dorm, and then they just brought us masks 2 days ago, so they came in today and started since everybody said that y'all on lockdown due to y'all not wearing y'all masks, So hold on, how we gonna wear masks, but y'all just not gave us these masks 2 days ago? What y'all really doing is covering up all the shit that's going on, and y'all not trying to tell us, because these people are dying, and the shit is getting more serious. Y'all saying EC side locked down, EC side locked down. No, it's because y'all covering shit up, you know what I mean? And I'm seeing it for what it is. You have all these different COs coming in here, coming from different areas. That's the ones who bringing this shit inside of the prison. The prisoners can't go nowhere, man. Like, they can't go anywhere. So the only people that can be bringing it in is them, man. And these people are dying from that, man. These people got families. Like, I got families. I got people that love me, you know what I mean? And it seems like they don't care about it because they not having to deal with it on a daily basis. But there's a lot of covering up with this COVID-19. They just trying to basically drown us in it together, man. They don't care. As of today, can't nobody go out. You can't go to child. You can't go get your commissary. You can't go get your medicine. Everything is being brought to you on the dorm. So tell me, why wasn't this implemented 3-4 weeks ago? Because if this would have been implemented 3-4 weeks ago, a lot of people probably would have been. If we would have had masks and no COs wouldn't have been coming over here from different units, and nobody would have been leaving out of this unit, that would have probably saved a lot, man. Like, you got people that have been everywhere. So now you want to do it 3-4 weeks after this shit been kicked off, or after the COVID-19 stuff been kicked off. It's already been passed around, man. It's everywhere now. Ain't no telling what's going on, and ain't nobody being tested on a daily basis. Not one person in this dorm has been tested. Now they tested everybody to be dorm, but ain't nobody been tested over here, man. Nobody's been having checks. Ain't nobody been really worried about us. I had to ask 3-4 weeks just to get the police just to spring them home, man. Like, it's getting ridiculous to the point of I'm feeling like they really don't care about our safety or health. And that's why I'm asking for everybody out there who's listening to this, please fight on the parole violators. behalf to release all parole violators and people that have a year and under to get up out of this situation, because we've already served our time. I've been doing time since 14 years old. I've done 20 years and change, you know what I mean? So I've done 80% of my time, 32 through 16, and I did 21, so you can add that up. But they still have me here on technical violations, 2 of them to be exact. Not a new case, but technical violations. So you want to try to ruin my whole life and give me a disease that could potentially kill me for a technical violation?
Say free them all! Free them all! Say free them all! Free them all! We got another person that went back to prison. I'm going to speak about him. He was talking about parole violators. Vernon Bateman, y'all might have saw him on Fox News. Angela Gote did a story about his case. He did a number of years, over a couple of decades in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Even the victim in the crime said she lied about it. And one of the other witnesses in the case came back and said the same thing, that they had a vendetta against him, so they lied on him. So he ended up getting out. Me and a couple of people went to his parole hearing back in December. Vernon Bateman is his name. And we was able to get him released. It took him like 45 days to release him. But they followed this brother around the whole time. They harassed him the whole time. 2 weeks later, for no reason, they swooped down on him and took him back to prison. So he's in there for a parole violation. We don't even know what the violation is. You know what I'm saying? So we say, free Vernon Bateman. Free Vernon Bateman. We say, free Vernon Bateman. Free Vernon Bateman. We say, free them all. Free them all. We say, free them all. Free them all. Free them all. Free them all.
This next one is Brother Kalfani Malik Khaldoon. He's at Wabash Valley.
Hello, good morning. This is Brother Kalfani Malik Khaldoon, also known as Leonard McQuay. It is 12 p.m. and I'm calling for Wabash Valley Correctional Facility. I would like to address a few things. Primarily, I'll deal with the issue first of the Indiana Department of Corrections currently is housing 6,000 prisoners who have less than 1 year to their release from prison. Due to the need of social distancing in the Indiana Department of Corrections, with the potential spread of COVID-19, I would like to put out a call for support from any and everybody, activists, revolutionaries in the community in Indiana and abroad, to demand the release of these 6,000 prisoners. I am currently in a cell with a young brother from Indianapolis. He had no less than, 2 years, no less than 2 years from his release. So I don't know if he would meet that criteria, but at the same time, I feel like he should be placed in the category for release as well. The Indiana Department of Corrections recently passed out an assortment of handmade face masks in an attempt to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The medical department is trying to prepare as well, because they know that a majority of the officers and the staff have to go home and come back. And if it does reaches the insides and confines of the Indiana Department of Corrections, it will have to come through those walls from staff. I would also like to say that there's been a lot of tension as a result of it, because they have been restricting various housing units and various restricted housing units as well, as far as that's coming out of our cells. They're letting us stay in our cells to be fed over here where I'm at. I'm located in a housing unit called G Housing Unit, and all of the prisoners are being forced to basically eat inside of our cells. During recreation periods, we have to wear our masks. They're still letting us come out and have our 1 hour a day exercises, but we are not eating outside of our cells, which is something that we're supposed to be allowed to do, instead of keeping us in the cells practically all day. I would also like to say that on 4/12/2020, on one side of the unit, which is the right side of G housing unit. 25 prisoners decided, after being angry and treated like animals and talked to like dogs, like they had a tail, they refused to go in. And as a result of that, they started to shoot pepper spray guns and gas and things of that nature at these offenders to get them inside of their cells. The next day, they isolated one brother, one of the Conrads named Quentin Abbott, and took him to isolation to the Indiana SHU unit, saying that he was the ringleader. But there were 25 prisoners involved, allegedly. So we know that they're trying to single this brother out as the ringleader who initiated the so-called uprising. We have to also support him. I would also like to say that the Indiana Department of Corrections and Wabash Valley staff have a tendency of totally disregarding the Constitution and the policies that allow us to be treated like human beings. And as a result of that, they said repression breeds resistance. The greater the repression, the greater the resistance. So I believe due to the situation with the COVID-19, there's going to be other episodes of resistance here at Wabash Valley because the officers are not being trained to treat prisoners humane. It is unfortunate that we as convicts and activists who know policy, who know law, who know the Constitution, are the ones who are having to train and teach the ignorant. These officers basically disregard the law, basically disregard policy, so we have to learn policy. So I encourage you to tell the brothers and comrades that y'all are in contact with that they have to learn the policy so that we can use the policies to expose the constitutional violations that are continuing to exist here in Wabash Valley. I would also like to say that it is definitely important for us to support any movement to get the release of these prisoners, this 6,000 prisoners, because, we want to ensure that they're not exposed to the COVID-19 and unfortunately have to be victimized and dehumanized by this whole entire experience as well as their families. So I hope that there's a victory in this. I hope that y'all can collectively work together, set aside all your differences, and work together in a common goal and a common interest. Because through the people there's a great power. So power to the people. This is my statement for this movement. Y'all take care. I see y'all soon. Peace.
Power to the people. Power to the people. Power to the people.
Power to the people.
Say power to all the people.
Power to all the people.
We say free them up.
Free them all.
We say free them up.
Free them all.
We're gonna do one more. One of the prisoners that's locked up. We got two more.
This is Brandon Lewis and Colin Walker at Wabash Valley. And I just wanted to note, like Kalfani said, that there have already been in the past 2 weeks 4, you could say, minor uprisings in 4 different facilities around the state, and that is expected to increase as they impose more and more restrictions on people. And a simple way to deal with this that would prevent that largely would be to just let out these over 6,000 people who have already done their time and only have less than a year left on their sentence.
Yes, mass release.
Yes.
Foremost, I want to thank the collective for the platform. First and foremost, I want to thank the collective for the platform to be able to air out our grievances and to be able to tell the public about the conditions behind these wrong offenses. My name is Brandon Lewis. I'm at Wabash facility. My DLC number is 114683. My author and African name is Eli Naeem. And I've been incarcerated for 12 years. The thing that I want to speak on right now is the fact that even though there are all these cases and all of these penitentiaries, even though there have been 5 correctional officers that have been diagnosed with the coronavirus working at this facility, even though there was a teacher that contacted the coronavirus and was placed on a ventilator. We still are not on lockdown. We still are allowed. So right now, everybody is at rest right now. And it's not a gathering of 10 people, it's a gathering of 100 people, all in the day room, all together, at the table, playing cards, at the table, braiding hair, in the cell, smoking and drinking together, et cetera, et cetera. And now they're going to close down the gym, so now in the morning, it's the same thing. We come out for rest, it's too cold outside, everybody is in the day room. Everybody is interacting, not in groups of 10 or less, but in groups of over 100 people. So the country was late with shutting down. As a result, the whole month of February was missed, and a lot of progress was missed, and a lot of lives have been lost. This penitentiary, as well as all the other penitentiaries in the state or in the country, should have been on lockdown. Because when it comes through here, it's going to come through here just like those nursing homes. Because there are a lot of brothers in here with diabetes, a lot of brothers in here with asthma, a lot of brothers in here with hypertension or high blood pressure, a lot of brothers in here, a lot of brothers in here, a lot of brothers in here. There's probably a lot of brothers in here walking around that are HIV positive and don't even know it. Because so 2 weeks ago, maybe 3, I was in my cell and my cellie got sick. And when he got sick, he started coughing, and I'm sitting on the box down here, and I'm afraid to a certain extent. I'm telling him, hey man, cover your mouth. After he got well, I got sick. And noticed that even in the cell, he wearing his mask. You know? So, one day, I had a fever. I never got my temperature checked because they didn't care that I was sweating. I was obviously, feeling cold. So I went out there and I told him, hey, I think I got a fever. I've been feeling bad. I've been coughing, something, et cetera, et cetera. He said he'd tell the nurse. I never heard nothing else of it. Never heard nothing from it. You know, so these are the type of things, you know, and I love my rec. I love recreation. I work out, you know, consistently. But the prison not being on lockdown, all of this stuff not being shut down, is such an apathy that it raises, you know, almost to a criminal level, in my opinion. You know, me being able to go to the COs and tell them that I think I have a fever. You know, I'm cold, I've been coughing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And for me not to be isolated in a cell, at the very least, you know what I'm saying, and took to medical, is a level of apathy almost criminal. And I'm thankful, you know, to the collective for the outlet to even speak on some of these things. Because it's only a matter of time before we're overrun. It's inevitable, especially when you consider the fact that we're still allowed to come out to rec. We're still allowed to hang out in groups of 150 people at a time. So, you know, I'm thankful. But I don't understand why we have to wait until we drop them like flies before we follow Governor Hillcomb's recommendation in social distance. You know, even though it's hard to because I live in a cell with somebody. But let me say it, you know, that's what I chose to speak on tonight.
Free them up! 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 As he was speaking to, we're going to end with that one right there, but as he was speaking to, this amounts to a crime against humanity. You know what I mean? This is a crime against humanity because in any other situation, if they was out here, they would be looking at if you crowd a lot of people in a space, and when y'all talking about social distancing, and when that pandemic break out, the institution probably be held liable for that. You know what I'm saying? That's why we can't even go in here and eat in any of these restaurants right now. But they can hold the people in these confined environments in prison. You know what I mean? So we looking at this as a crime against humanity. You know what I mean? And that's why we saying free them out. You know? So we have to keep on standing together with these brothers. You heard from them. You heard from Kelly. Her son caught this from being on the unit that passed it around to 32 people got TB because they put this individual on there, infected them, didn't give them proper medication. You know, Holcomb just was talking about only 27 people have it. Now we find out in one facility, 90 people have it. You know what I mean? What's the other numbers at the other facilities that they ain't been testing the other brothers there? You know what I mean? What about the women's prison? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, we stand with the women. You know, their situation is always being left untalked about, but we stand with them as well. And we will be doing protests at their institution because we say free the women too. Free women too. We say free them all. Free them all. When we say free men and we say free women, we talk about all of them. Free them all. Free them all. And that's what we're going to have to do. So we going to continue to organize. We're going to continually be out here because when they see us to grow, when we start to grow, they're going to try to get ahead of the problem because they want us to disband. You know what I mean? They don't want us out here doing this type of stuff. They don't want us to raise the consciousness of the people. They don't even want to cross over ethnic lines and gender relation lines and nationality lines and sex lines and stuff like that and talk about class struggle. They don't want that. They fear class struggle. But we say what they doing to us is a class struggle against our people, the lower class people. And this is why we out here standing with our brothers and sisters in the joints right now. You know what I'm saying? We say free them all. Free them all. We say free them all. Free them all. We say free them all. Free them all. All power to the people. All power to the people.